Bible Answers with Dr. Al Garza.
All right, welcome back to Bible Answers. I am your host, Dr. Al Garza. Today I want to give you a brief update on what's going on with my research on some Hebrew New Testament texts that I have found, manuscripts online in different libraries around the world that have been cataloged, some online for view, some have to be scanned and paid for, and then others that aren't viewable unless you go directly to the library themselves. But I've managed to get a hold of a number of different Hebrew New Testament texts, manuscripts, complete codexes, from Matthew to Revelation, complete New Testament, Hebrew New Testament books. And this is interesting. Many scholars today, Greek scholars, will tell you that we do not have any Hebrew New Testament manuscripts that have survived. Well, that's no longer the case. That is not true anymore. We do have them. We do have them at these libraries that have been cataloged. They've been found, digitized, put online. Some of them that can't be viewed have to be paid for and scanned, which I have done with some of these, and I'm still waiting to receive them. Some of them are can't be viewed unless you go directly to the library themselves and then view them there, which is hard to do now with COVID and trying to get out there, so I can't do that right now. I have to wait on that. But I want to say this. We now have complete Hebrew New Testament manuscripts from Matthew to Revelation in our possession, and more than one complete. We can compare multiple Matthews, multiple Marks, multiple Luke and John's and Paul's epistles and Paul's letters and the epistles and Revelation. We have enough to make comparisons of them and determine if they go back to an earlier Hebrew source text or if they do come from a translation like Greek. Now, if some of them do come from a Greek translation, that's perfectly fine because we're still able to determine which Greek text are they using at the time, and that points to the different variants between them, and also how did the Jewish scribe that was translating, how did he view such names of God like Kurios and Theos and the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh in its form. Amazingly, some of these give great insight to what is in these names and titles, as well as what's in the texts themselves that differ from the Greek or Latin or Syriac or other translations, even some of the later Aramaic texts. But some of these are just, it's stunning. It's just, to me, I'm very excited about this because we also, and I came across this on some of the catalogs in the libraries, but I haven't been able to view them because I have to either go there directly or I'm in contact with the National Library in Israel trying to get more information on some fragments. Some fragments that are found, they're called the Cairo Ganesa fragments of the New Testament. These are New Testament fragments in Cairo that the date is unknown. There's at least 3 that I know of that are unknown dates, which could point to a very early text of within the first 500 years. Now, like the Greek New Testament, the majority of the Hebrew New Testament manuscripts that I found, of course, date after the 9th century, but a lot of them do point to an earlier Hebrew source text. And you can find this in my book that I wrote, in a basic introduction, and I explain this in my book, how we know some of these go back to an earlier Hebrew source text, not a Greek text. And so, if you want more information, get my book. You can go to my website, dralgarza.org. You can kind of see some of these, pictures at my link there at the Hebrew Institute of Semitic Studies, which is a link there. It's THISS. It's this THISS.org, where you can see some of these photographs of some of the texts that I have come across. But there are more. I have found more Hebrew Matthews, Mark, Luke's, John's, Paul's letters, the epistles, Jude, James, Revelation. Enough where we know now that some Hebrew texts, manuscript New Testaments have survived. That is just a fact now. Nobody can make the argument that we don't have any in existence or none survived. They have survived. Whether some come from a translation, that's fine, because again, that's still great to be able to study and see the comparisons, as well as some point to an earlier Hebrew source text. So the argument comes now, even if they are translation. Now, one red flag that we get is if I'm looking at a Hebrew New Testament and I see a Greek word written in Hebrew, then I know, okay, that's a marker that a Greek text was used to translate this into Hebrew. But that doesn't mean we throw it out. That doesn't mean that still, what the bulk of it in there can come to an earlier Hebrew tradition that was brought down. Just like in the Greek manuscripts that we have, there are Hebrew words written in Greek. You have the word Satan or the Shabbat. Those are written in Greek, but they're Hebrew words written with the Greek letters. That doesn't mean you throw out the Greek New Testament. I don't see anybody saying, "Oh, get rid of the Greek New Testament because it's got Hebrew words written in Greek." No. Now, some of these texts that are Hebrew might be translated from a Greek text, and you can see some of those words in the same way, but they are still Hebrew New Testament manuscripts. And some of these do not come from a translation. And I point that out in my book. But some of these are exciting. We have these Cairo Ganesa fragments. We have other fragments in France that are dates are unknown. We've got manuscripts from Russia, Sweden, Germany, France, and from England. From Rome. I found some in Rome complete. Some of them are complete Matthew to Revelation, at least 3 of them. The other ones are of individuals, Matthews and Mark. Some of them are Acts and Ephesians. Some of them are just kind of independent. But these are, just something I've been waiting for. I've been waiting to get, be able to locate these myself. When I heard that other scholars were finding some of them, I went on my own independent research on these and found them cataloged, and I just kept going, and I found more. Now, it's hard because I don't have a lot of time to spend looking for them. I do have other businesses or companies that I have to run that I own. So, it's hard for me to spend a lot of time on these, but I do my best with that. But if you want to support my ministry, I got to say this because a lot of you have emailed me saying, how can we support this? Help funding this does help me put more time into it. If you go to my website, dralgarza.org, you buy a book, give a one-time donation, or become a monthly support partner, that helps me put more time into doing this, where I can take time away from my other businesses, my other personal companies that I run that help support me. And most of my book royalties go right back into my ministry. The fact, all of it does go back into this. So any books you buy, donations, monthly partnership would be wonderful at my website, dralgarza.org. And, do what you can. But that helps me put more time. I'm working on translations. I'm working on, textual criticism between these texts and the Greek texts and seeing, how we can determine where these go back to. But we now have them, and more are being found and researched and discovered by just a small group of scholars. Not very many, because most of the scholarly consensus in the Greek mindset of the New Testament think these don't exist or they know nothing about them. If they do exist, they already dismiss them as copies or copies from or translation from a Greek or a different text, and that's all they are. Well, no, they're not. The evidence doesn't support that. We have them. They need to be looked at and studied just like any other New Testament manuscript, whether some of them do come from a Greek or Latin text, they still need to be studied. And a number of them do not. So that's a fact. But listen, this is very exciting news. I don't want to spend too much time. I just want to give you an update. If you have any questions, concern, or thoughts or comments, you can leave them here at my channel, or you can email me. But if you want to support my ministry, please do. Go to the website. You can see some of the pictures there. But listen, I want to thank you for the time. Please, if you want to just help out, do whatever you can. Buy a book, that helps. Again, donations monthly or one time are wonderful. But I'm going to continue working on these, and I'll keep updating you as I move through them. But it's just exciting to know that these texts do exist, and we have a great number of them. So keep it in prayer. I want to thank you for subscribing and listening. I want to say, keep it in prayer, definitely, that we continue to work through these, and other scholars will start to look at them more seriously. So I want to say thank you for tuning in. My name is Dr. Al Garza. I want to say thank you, God bless, and I will keep you updated soon.
Bible Answers with Dr. Al Garza.